Okay. Good morning. Okay, I'm the only one who's here right now. I might just wait. We've got someone there. Good morning to you. And before we get started today, if you can't hear me at any stage, or you're unable to do something from your end, like in the chat box, etc., then just let me know. But you're very welcome to say hi, and you're very welcome to also offer a question. Okay, well, I can see no one's jumped on live right now, and so I will just hang around and see if we've got some more that can get on board. They might be a little bit. Okay, well, I'm just going to start talking, because if you're here watching the replay, it will be nice to hear me talking about something, wouldn't it? Now, okay, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to center in. So if you want to do that via your breath, this is how we center in. And so take a moment to check in with yourself and breathe nice and naturally. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm accessing, it's always from within. We go like this, but it's actually from in here. And so how I access that energy is I just plug into it. It's always there, but I plug into it because I am wanting to access these next lot of questions through, I can call it a portal. It's a bit like a portal where you connect in with your truth. It's a stream of light. And for those of you who don't know, my mother was a psychic. And so I grew up in this environment where listening to this sort of information was normal, and a little bit weird sometimes, even for me who lived in the household. But it's become part of my life over the last 20 years. And this is more recent, the way that I do readings right now. It's just sort of come about quite naturally. So stepping into it. Yeah, so I've had most people, because this is not a really great time for people to be getting on a live right now, that they've sent in some questions. So I'm just going to start with that. And I'm also going to get her to, I've asked her if she can actually join me. And one of the things that came through is that I'm going to do she's been working in these realms for a long, long time, and she's not in that position anymore. However, I said to her the other day, would you like to do a video? And she said yes. So for those that would have liked to ask Nairi a question, who's my mum, in a couple of weeks, if you can send it to hello@jaxinbrook.com, and that way we can get around to that and we can spend some time together, and then you can listen to her as well. All right, well, let's start with the questions that came in. So we've got one here. And thank you for everyone that has sent a question in, because this is just starting, and it takes a while to build momentum on anything. And yeah, so that you can also have some questions answered in this way. You can listen to the replay. So the first question I've got here is, I am starting a new business and it is daunting given all the restrictions right now. Is this a good time for me to start my business, or should I get work wherever I can? All right. Immediately what's coming up in the energy is I see the crossroads, and where you are standing at the crossroads is you're looking either side, you're looking ahead, you're looking behind. So there's too many places that you're looking and wondering where to go, instead of just thinking, I'm moving forward with your business. Feels more, well, it feels aligned with you. It feels like you've definitely gone, right, this is what I want to do and I want to bring it to life. It's not something new. You've done this before, but you're doing it in a different way now, which is a really, really good thing. Now, most people would look at this maybe, well, I myself would look at it as I have a blank slate and I get to paint it however I choose, which puts you in a real creative mode. But right now you're a little bit afraid because you can see, well, as we all know, there are many changes very quickly that have been occurring outside that look like we need to consider those things. And what needs to be considered is that it's the way that this is not about restrictions. This is actually about you being able to get a little bit more clarity around how you're going to deliver, how you're going to actually share what it is that you do with others. So what I see sort of forming and how my vision shows up is I see one screen and then the next one comes up and then the next one. So on this next screen that's showing up is, it's like a circle. You're the center of the circle and all your gifts are within that circle. And it's got on the outside, it's got in the, it's like a ray of sunshine, right? We can put it like that. But what I'm seeing is six rays. So they represent the different ways that you can deliver this into the world. And so the answer for you right now is not, so the question is, given the restrictions, now is it a good time to start? That's not the question to be asking. It's like, yes, you're definitely doing this. It's not about the restrictions that are on the news or anything like that. This is about you taking a moment you're restricting yourself in the way that it's time to brainstorm, and so that you can get creative around the different ways that are available to you to be able to actually share this with your customers or your clients, etc. Now, there's quite a few. This is why I'm seeing 6 rays here right now. And so what will rise up from you even doing that exercise is that you will feel like you're aligning more so with one in particular. And this is really what it's about. It feels like over these next few months, and I know I'm going on a little bit, answering probably more than I need to in this question right now, but these next few months there is work to do within whatever you choose in that way. There is work to do. There's some repetitious things just to do again and again and again, so that you can build on that momentum, actually get that up and start to get the results that you're looking for, and a fair exchange in the marketplace as well, and all those things. It is an exciting time, but you're feeling excited, but you're a little bit daunted, and it's really just to go, okay, I get this stuff is showing up, but this is what I've got to pay attention to right now. So thank you for asking that question. This learning, I think, is going to have a huge impact on what I am to bring forward. Oh, thank you so much, Sharon, for that comment. And yeah, actually, one of the things to pay attention to is, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning, but we live in a reflective universe. And so what you want to be doing is seeing out of today what's reflecting back to you. It may not be your question, but there'll be something that you will have an opinion on, and take notice of that opinion. And by doing that, you will be able to see what it is for you to implement. A previous question before that one. I don't know. Okay. I can't see anyone online, so I don't know. And I can see that you're online, Sharon, so I don't know how many are listening right now. But if you do have a question, please pop it in there, because I can't see what's before that either. Sorry about that. You can write it again if you'd like. All right. Is this madness going to end in Australia and the world? I'm at a loss of what to do now and so unsure of what the future holds. Please help. This is probably a question for a lot of people here that they've got on their mind right now and are really not sure which way things are going to go. So, okay, madness going to end. Well, that's definitely a yes, but there's something before that we need to look at. What's showing up right now is I'm seeing strikes of lightning. Now, the lightning is not just a single strike. It's actually, there's quite a few, and they're going wide. They're going far and wide. Now, it's to look at the symbolism of the lightning, and what that means is that it's strong, right? It's a strong volt of electricity. Well, that's what I don't know much about lightning. I'm just tuning into the energy here. So the thing is that when the lightning hits the earth, it's a positive charge. So it looks like things around are fractured and that there is imbalance around, and there definitely is the experience of that as well. But the lightning is actually a good thing. So it's a really strong force, and it's also cutting through, but it's injecting a positive charge into the earth and for those around us. So where you are right now, okay, I can say yes, the madness is going to end. The loss that you're feeling right now is because of you're a really great force for good, and that light, that that lightning bolt is actually, it's almost like it's hitting your backside and sort of calling you forward. You're already doing good in your world, but it's like, get a hurry along. Stand up and say those things that you want to say. Have the voice that you want to have. Go out and do the things that you feel like you're meant to be doing. It's like, it's get a move on there. So that's what the lightning represents. And so, yeah, I think you'll know what that means for you, and you'll know where you are putting things off. So where you're putting things off, that has you feel like there's a loss and that you're going around in circles. Okay, moving on. My business is doing okay and has managed to continue trading through the lockdowns. I know this is not what I'm really here to do, because this is, I do it because this is what I'm trained in. I appreciate I'm able to, but just wondering what I can do so that I feel really good about what I'm doing and be that for my customers. Okay. Now, what's showing up here is that there is I can see you sort of sitting back in your seat, and it's like you're in an armchair, and there's a laziness in your energy. And it's not that you're a lazy person, but there is a laziness when it comes to the you actually moving into the unpredictable or the unknown. Now, this is not because you maybe don't want to, but it's sort of like you can see these people living lives where they're really happy. They feel like they look like they're satisfied. You're thinking, yeah, they're doing those things that really juice them up and have them be alive. But the thing is that you go, oh, well, that's good for them, but for me, it's different. Now, what's also showing me is a little bit from past of where you had an experience and there's somebody close to you that lived on the edge, and as you were growing up, they looked like they were failing miserably. Part of the living on the edge might have looked like where they didn't have that much money, or where they went through a lot of broken down experiences where you're like, and because you were close to them, like it could be a parent that you've had this relationship with, and so they lived on the edge. They didn't care, and their energy now feels like they're still in that, like they don't care that they don't have this, that, and everything else, but they've really lived their life and they're really happy with that, even though they'd love things to be better in other areas. Whatever your sum total of your experience of them, you've made it mean that it's unsafe to live on the edge, and that you would prefer being organized and predictability and feeling comfortable. So this is not about that. So what you can do right now, knowing that you're going to get bored out of your brain, there's no doubt about that. It's going to be the same old, and days might be a little bit better than the last one before, but it's not serving you in the way, or serving others really when you think about it, but it's not serving you in a way that you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to go, I'm so glad I stayed comfortable and I was organized and I managed to have a certain amount in the bank, and that my life was predictable. It was safe. I'm so glad I did that. It's to look at now how you can start to change this for yourself. And this is about small increments. It's not about anything, crazy and jumping out of a plane or anything like that. It's about looking at what you do enjoy right now. without changing anything in your environment and actually doing more of that. So big answer to your question, but yeah, it really needs to be looked at if you do want to do things that are different. Okay, we've got a question. Thanks, Sharon. I made contact with a female relative recently, and we are going through intense emotions right now. Are we going to be closer after this process is completed? Female relative, intense emotions, process. Okay, the energy feels like it's actually going to go way off track. It's going to feel like it gets heavier before anything else gets better. And this person feels like she's got it's like she's, how I'm seeing it, it sounds a little bit dramatic, and I don't mean it to sound dramatic, but it's the effect of it. So it's almost like I can see both of you, and her energy's sitting higher than yours, and you're on the pushback, and her hands are around your neck. So it's like she's got a strong hold on you, and that's what it can feel like when you're dealing with her. And not that you're falling back and she's won or anything like that. This is not about winning or losing, of course, but the energy is that intense around the issues that you have together. So, and I want you to take this on as where you can, how those interactions actually make you feel. So it might not even be presenting as dramatic, but to notice where you do feel a strong hold on you, and that you can't, that there needs to be force of some sort, that it's not just an easy resolve. So that's what it's symbolic of. Now, after this process is completed, okay, I keep seeing it going out back, so it's sort of coming down and then it slides out the back. And with that, there is, so it's, okay, so what's that showing me is that there is it's like sliding out the back door. And as it slides away, you're able to breathe, and you're able to be pleased that you experienced this. But I actually don't see her in your life as often or as much, because she's not here, as I see that sliding back. So this is something that's from the past, even though you've just met up with her recently. She's come into, there's a purpose while she's here, and this is what you're to take away from today. It's not about let's figure out how this is all going to look and when's it going to end. There's something for you to get right now that's actually going to be really helpful as you're going. So if you get this for yourself, it's actually going to help you move through this a lot easier. Is what is there for you? Is the issue that's sitting there, there's a way that you think about it. There's a view that you have, and it's about remaining centered in your view rather than getting pulled off from other people to try and, sometimes when you have a conversation with someone and they ask you something that you're not quite sure of, and so then you start pulling information from those people that you've had conversations about that same thing before. Then you've got all this, and it sounds like it makes sense, but it really is really from a whole lot of sources. There's something that you believe in and that feels very centered in who you are, and this is where you are to remain. Now, if you remain here without explaining yourself, but sometimes you have to get firm in order to, not to defend yourself, but just because that's where you are and that's what you believe. So that way, when you stay centered in yourself around this particular issue that you have, is because she has an opposing view and she wants to fight it out. She's just got a very strong personality, and the way you're going to get through this the easiest is not by not saying anything, is not by letting her choke you in her opinion, but actually by resting in what you know to be your truth. And there is a real calling right now for you to continue to step into that place as you make decisions about who you are and where you want to go and what you believe in, and without convincing anyone else. This is just purely for you, and that's the beauty about your nature. And this is part of the calling forward and what's showing itself and what you're to get up to. And I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that's made sense to you, if there's anything else you need clarification around, Sharon. But thank you for sharing that question. Looks like you're the only one. If you're the only one on live today, thank you for showing up and having a conversation with me. All right, so the next one I have a lovely man in my life who is going through a lot of stuff, and because of that can be really distant. I'm there for him and respectful of what he needs for himself, but I'm not sure if this is his stuff or this is him in relationship. Eek. All right, let's have a okay. So what's there is he is actually, I can see his energy is sort of held back a little bit and it's sort of standing in the shadows there. And he has experienced some grief that has not been resolved. And when I'm saying grief, I really mean grief. It's not, so it could be the loss of someone really close to him. It could be, no, it feels like it's the loss of somebody close, like someone was in his life and then they're gone. So whether they passed away, there's that possibility there, because it feels like, yeah, they're not just somewhere else in the world. They're actually, they're vibrating at another energy now. So, however, their energy is still around that person, but even they can't connect with them in the way that they would like, and that's because he's sitting in the grief. Now, he's a really lovely soul, and he's actually a very kind man, and he's a really good person. So if you two are able to work through this, it's going to actually increase your relationship like tenfold. And so what you can do now to help him through this, because until he has to open that door, right? We can't force the door open for anyone. We can't tell them that's the best door, go through there and then be mad if they don't. But he has to, it's okay to say some of those things when it feels like that's the truth that's there. But he will open the door when he feels that he's ready for that. And so the best way you can support him is, because I can get that would be really frustrating for you, and you're not sure where this relationship is going and get confused as well, is what you can do is, because there's still a question mark around your relationship, because there may be somebody else that's better suited for you. However, for now, because this is in your life for a reason, right? And there'll be parts of you that are in the shadows, and so it's time to get happier. Is you have some really great things happening in your life, and there are bits and pieces of happiness that you'll notice. Well, what it looks like is that you haven't been sharing with him because of where he's at. You want to go in and acknowledge where he's at by, if he's on a lower vibration and you go in, you can see that he's sort of like just in his stuff, just say, hi, hon, hope you, hug, something sensitive of that nature. But then as you're with him, share the pocket of happiness that has occurred in your life today, and share it from the place of where you are happy about it. And through you connecting with him through these little pockets of happiness, he survives that, and it makes it okay that he can actually start to open up to that next level of where he is, because I feel like he will eventually deal with the grief that's there, but it's just going to be a little while. So that's why if you end up staying together, this is how you can actually support your relationship and actually continue to be yourself within the relationship as well. Yes, okay. Thank you. Thanks, Sharon. If you've got any other questions, because I've got a couple left here, we've got 6 minutes to go. So if you've got one, feel free to ask away. All right, the next one I've got here. My partner and I, a lot of relationship questions. My partner and I are not living together and sort of together, but not. Okay, I'll read that again. My partner and I are not not living together and sort of together, but not. What does the future hold for us? Okay, so what I can see initially is there's been past love, definitely warmth. When I think about the connection with the two of you, there's definitely warmth there, and there's a spiritual connection as well. So there's been growth together, but in a way that feels really lovely. Okay, so you've shared some great experiences together. However, it's sitting sort of down. It's not sort of here, right, smack bang in the present. And so I want to look at what else is there. And I think I don't even know what I said at the start of this, but I've said somewhere about we live in a reflective universe, and it's to look at what's reflecting back. So oftentimes what we look at when we look out into the world, we'll be looking for the things that when we see someone, we'll have a judgment of that rather than acknowledging the great sides. Oftentimes we'll notice the things that annoy us, especially when it comes to partners. And yes, I've been guilty of that. Is that what the request is that I'll just turn that sound off. What the request is that the reflection. So it looks like some really great couples in your world that have longevity, but not just longevity. They've really got a great relationship, even if they're complete opposites to each other. They have some really great qualities, and they manage to be able to get through their stuff and still be in love in a way that they're affectionate, and you can tell that, and they're not, they are connected and they communicate and all those sorts of things, and they're still having this life that appears juicy. So it's to notice those things that you really love in those relationships, those closely connected ones, especially ones in longevity. So you might want to look at, I don't know, if your parents do, or if their parents do, or somebody older where they've had many years together in marriage. Like, what is that quality there that you really like? And it's to see that, so you can actually go, we have that already. We actually have that piece that's there already, because the next screen is showing me there's this blind that's being pulled down. Now, if you think of blinds, we pull the blinds at night because we don't want others to look in that we can't see. Now, if we look out, it's like, oh, it's really dark out there. I don't want to go out in the dark. So this is what's been happening within your relationship together, is like, say you pull the blinds up, it's dark. And so you've been looking at the shadows of each other and going, this is a problem. We need to do something about that. And whilst missing the actual beauty of what else you actually already have. And if you were able to sort of take that on board and be able to see how that's sitting and showing up for you, it's actually going to add some great perspective to where both of you are at. So the question really is, what does the future hold for us? It's the blind that's causing the problem, and what you're both looking at in the dark. So there's a predictability of the stuff that both triggers you, and ends up being the problem again, another day, another problem, same problem. And then bypassing the goodness. And it's the kind of relationship that if you're to get through this, man, I want one of those relationships where, So anyway, just have a feel into that and see where that sits for you. Thanks, Sharon. Okay. I am so worried at the moment. Can't seem to drop it or let it go. What can I do? Can't seem to drop it. And you're certainly not dropping it. You are not dropping it at all. You're hanging on to it for dear life. So, okay. And what that bag of stuff is it's a whole lot of, you're calling it worry. Like, I'm so worried at the moment, can't seem to drop it. I really get, of course, there's so many things that we could worry about right now. Is it going to serve us? It never does it? And to really realistically think about this, it's like, well, if I don't worry about it, who is? The worry is never going to serve, and it's not going to serve you today, and it won't serve you tomorrow, and it doesn't serve any of us. So it's to acknowledge, okay, I'm worried, and in the worry, there doesn't seem to be a solution, but maybe there's something else or another way of looking at it. Can't seem to drop it or let it go. So I'm seeing the bag there of worry. It actually represents a whole bunch of others' judgments and opinions. And what's easier for you, because you are a very knowing woman, and your knowingness, you're very intelligent, actually. You're very intelligent. You are far thinking. You have a deep knowing, and you're very quick at calculation. So you are, it's like being in your mind right now. I don't even know how to function in your mind because I can't. You see, so it's like you're one of those people that can sees the equations, knows how to work out these complex equations. And I don't mean like literally. I'm meaning there's a way that you see things that are very different than other people. So it's not that you're not intelligent enough, don't know enough, you've got all the faculties about you. So this worry is actually about judgment from other people. And so what it's showing me is that you are currently rocking yourself in the corner. It's like, oh, what can I do here? And you're going to stay there if you don't do something different. And the calling for you today is, and I don't mean to sound like, there's been a lot of butt kicking, like don't look at the shadow, look at the other good stuff. Lightning hit the backside of somebody. It's like, get up and go and do those things. And this is sort of the same similar sort of energy, is you need to get yourself into a group that is above what you're used to doing, being involved, out of your comfort zone. You're going to stay where you are if you don't exercise you don't go into your uncomfortability. So you may know all these great, amazing equations and how to do this and that and everything else, and you operate like that in the world, and it's very productive. However, that part of you that is so much more needs to be challenged in a way where you're around your peers. You're very safe doing it where you are with those that you know where they're all at. But yeah, there's a calling to step into something else. So you will know what that is, because it's something that you may have been wanting to do for a while now, but you put it off because it looks like there's so much to worry about in the world. And yeah, you need to step up, girl. You need to step up, girl, and get yourself in there. Okay, anything else? Okay, cool. Thanks, Sharon. All right. Oh, okay, it's 11. Okay, so I want to thank you, Sharon, for coming along today, and anyone who jumped on and off, thank you for showing up for even just a little while. Really appreciate this. Send your questions to hello@jaxinbrook.com or join me next week at 10:30. Love to see you here. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I appreciate you so much. Blessings. Bye-bye.